In his second book of memoirs, Verner quotes Seneca the Younger's words, homines dum docent discunt, even while they teach, men learn. This aptly describes Verner's own life. Lived first in England, then in a number of countries in Asia and the Pacific. He was always interested, engaged, actively seeking the background to everything, never bored. Verner died just 11 weeks short of his 99th birthday. Many have been surprised to know his true age. Verner himself often said, calendar age is just a number. His energy and enthusiasm for life made him seem like a contemporary, bridging the gap between generations. In fact, my own focus during the past couple of years has been to simplify our lives, in case I should, figuratively speaking, go under a bus myself, and Verner be the one to be left alone. Verner was an asthma sufferer from the age of 8, and had a number of major operations and illnesses throughout his life. Nevertheless, he decided early in life to live as everyone else, take no special precautions, make no special arrangements, as to do so, in his view, would be an imposition on others. Verner had a great deal of respect for other people, whatever their position in life. Looking at fellow passengers on the MTR, he would speculate about the thoughts, feelings, concerns, and preoccupations busy in the mind of each. In daily living, he would make a mental list of those providing excellent service, and he cautioned about forming judgments based on appearances. He was good at choosing people. I met Verner on the 28th of November 1985, and we married on the 7th of May the next year. Today is our 39th wedding anniversary. But there had been brief brushes with fate over the previous 30 years. As a little girl, I regularly listened to the BBC's Children's Hour and remembered one serial, Tanglemane, the Pit Pony. I acted in that, Verner told me. In the summer of 1971, while in Honolulu, I was advised to try to see Verner, director of the Culture Learning Institute at the East-West Center on the University of Hawaii campus. I made it to the anteroom, but had no prior appointment. A staff member warned me off, protecting him. He's always very busy. Still, I took the opportunity to subscribe to the center's newsletter, and over the years found its focus and point of view very congenial. I wrote to apply for a position, but the letter came back, perhaps from Verner, that I wasn't eligible, as they wanted people with a different background. Verner and I actually met for the first time in Hong Kong at the Royal Asiatic Society's 25th anniversary celebration. After Verner left the event, because he had a conference to arrange, I said to one of the others he'd been talking with, "I wonder if he's married?" And they replied, "I expect so, all the good ones are." Verner had in fact been happily married for 29 years to Lois, whom he loved dearly. She'd very recently passed after 10 years of illness, during which Verner devotedly took care of her at home, while also giving his all to his professional work. What Verner talked about at that first meeting of ours was mainly about books and people he'd known in the publishing world. And it's probably words in many shapes and forms which were one of our most frequent grounds of cooperation. We had the same frames of reference, knew what the other was going to say, prompted each other when needed, could tell each other stories. But Verner opened up many other worlds for me through his work, the societies and groups he was active in, his son and daughter, and their children and families, his friends, colleagues and former colleagues, his acting and adjudicating, and also by encouraging me to join groups myself. I think I also opened up some new experiences for him. For example, we found great interest and excitement in my research into the history and personalities of 19th century education in Hong Kong, a topic which we both considered had present-day relevance for what it could teach us about that recurrently vexed question, the standard of the teaching and learning of languages in Hong Kong. Together, we went to the British Library, I to renew and he to acquire a reader's ticket. Later, we worked together as founder administrators of 2 international literary prizes. It was generous of Verner to give me space to do so much research and writing. It was generous of him to forego his own opportunities to head some liberal arts college in the USA, which he could easily have achieved after retirement from Hong Kong government service. And here we come to one of Verner's immense gifts. He understood people well. Indirectly, imperceptibly, patiently, he would lead them to understand what they would like to do, what they could and should do, and, equally unobtrusively, he would guide them in the way to do it. Verner also had a considerable ability to manage people. Before we met, he'd been interested in the tiny Pyrenean co-principality of Andorra, between France and Spain, as a possible place for retirement. He'd spent most of his life in Asia and the Pacific, and thought, in retirement, it would be good to make trips around Europe. Andorra seemed a good centre to do this from. My initial response was negative. Why would I want to be stuck up there in the mountains, away from everything? So Verner cancelled his planned summer trip to Andorra. However, the next year I'd come round to the idea of going there, just to see. An hour or so before we left for the airport, Verner said, "I've still got the phone number of a property agent in Andorra. Why don't you give him a ring and see if he can show us some places while we're there?" So now it was my project. How clever of him. We did see some properties the first morning after we arrived. A couple of them were quite attractive, built in traditional wood and stone. Then at lunch, Verner said, "Well, I don't think we want to spend all our holiday looking at places. Why don't we just get one of those we saw this morning?" So that's what we did. However, when the time came, when neither of us was in salaried employment anymore, Verner just didn't want to leave Hong Kong, so we have stayed. We've had a very happy marriage. As the years have gone by, as each wedding anniversary has been reached, Verner has burst into the Pearly King's song, and it don't seem a day too much. There ain't a lady living in the land as I'd swap for my dear old Dutch. Verner frequently lamented that all his life there'd been a war taking place somewhere in the world. What he hoped could be achieved was cross-cultural understanding and peaceful, collaborative coexistence among all. He laboured with these objectives in mind. In an oral interview he gave in 2010, when he was already 84 years old, Verner said, "I would like to be remembered as someone who realized what the overall mission was and did his best to live up to it. I'm still doing my best." In his first book of memoirs, Footfalls Echo in the Memory, published in 2010, Verner wrote towards the end, "What did it all amount to? What did I achieve? I've been fortunate to be able to serve for over 50 years outside my own country in a fascinating variety of positions in both the public and corporate sectors. I've learned a great deal over the many years, but what impact, if any, did I have on other people's lives? Only they would be able to tell. We here today, and all the many not present, would like to tell you, darling, that it's already amounted to a very great deal. And as time goes on, the beneficial impact of your time with us will continue to bear positive fruit. Thank you for all you have learnt, all you have taught us. Thank you, Verner, darling, for all you have done, for all you have been. I love you.